Today is Saturday, and usually on Saturday mornings I love to do a prayer walk. Prayer is something that is really important to me, but it's also something I don't do nearly as often as I would like to. In my life, there have just been so many incredible women who make prayer such a priority, and I have learned so much from them and grown so much because of them. As you may or may not have noticed from my face, which is very red, it's slightly cold in New York City right now, so I am armed with coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. I actually got a gift card from my internship supervisor, the associate pastor that I work with. I got an Americano, and then I also got some Munchkins, which are Dunkin's like little mini donuts. Okay, also it's definitely started snowing right now, which is fantastic. Gosh. I'm actually not sure if I've ever been to New York City in the snow. Usually when I pray, my default is to be praying about me, because like I have a lot going on with school. Something that I try to make a priority when I do go on a prayer walk is to start with being like, okay, yes, I have this quiz coming up and this exam. Instead of like immediately jumping down that rabbit hole, I like to really try to at least focus on praying for other people in my life. Different people in my family and friends and people from church back home, and my current church internship. Take seriously what it means to pray for other people who I care about and who I think are cool. And because it's snowing, everyone who's taking photos are like grabbing handfuls of snow and like tossing them up in the air. I'm at the Hershey store in Times Square, and I really appreciate doing this in one of the like most iconic locations where you would like associate it with capitalism, because I think it's ironic. I think it's very ironic.
Everything is just incredibly Instagrammable. Like, seriously, whoever designed this place deserves a raise.
So I got a tiny bit sidetracked, right? And by a tiny bit, I mean a lot bit. Like, I had the best intentions. I was gonna walk around, I was gonna pray for people, I was gonna like trust God, it was gonna be so cool. And then what did it take? All of like 10 minutes for me to be like, oh look, marshmallows. Like, oh look, they have candy. And I feel like that 9 times out of 10 when I try to do a prayer walk is exactly what happens. Like, I start out with such good intentions and like wanting to like pray for all the people I care about and really like invest in getting closer to God and learning to like better sense when the Holy Spirit is active and present and working in my life. And then I get distracted by M&Ms and anything else in life, particularly commercialism. I think Times Square in itself is just like the apex of commercialism. And what happens when we, with like all of our good intentions, really commit to something and then just get pretty easily distracted?
Getting distracted. That's the easy part.
So what does it take to not play along, to not fall into the trap? I'm gonna try to go find a change of venue, and I'll try this again.
I think for me, a lot of time, so much of what it really is just taking my eyes off my phone for just a second.
Just long enough to look around and see like what else is going on. I think especially in New York City, it reminds me so much of Seattle, where homelessness is such a huge problem. So as I'm here walking around on my prayer walk with all of my good intentions, what does it look like to really say like, what is going on in the world around me? Just a few steps away, just a few neighborhoods away, a world away. There's so much in our world to be praying for, and I get so caught up in all of the distractions and everything around me that I really can set out really meaning to pray for other people and pray for our world, and then I just kind of like end up doing that for 15 minutes and then get distracted. I was gonna go to Central Park and see what that looks like in the snow, which I'm sure would be really cool, except for right now it is just started snowing a little harder. So I made it back to my apartment. Spoiler alert, Chucks don't work very well as snow boots, so if you were going to try that, I would not recommend it. It was so fun to get to do my Saturday morning prayer walk in New York City, and also just such a great reminder of the reality of what spiritual practices are like. Something I've really loved in the past 2 offices that I've worked at is that they both really valued prayer, and there would be groups of people who would get together at the beginning of each year and would pray for everyone in their office, everyone on their team. So as much as I love getting to do individual prayer walks, I think that group community prayer is also something that can be so powerful. There's so much about preparing for ministry that is academic and intellectual. 3 more lessons of Hebrew vocab that I need to learn. And you're trying to do Greek translation and memorizing everything and all of your essays. And I just don't want to forget spiritual practices. And as neat as it can be to do an individual practice, I think there's something especially powerful about getting to do prayer together with people and really getting to do that in community.